we are living through this huge shift, but it feels so convenient that we barely even notice the ground moving beneath us. You wake up, you reach for your phone, and boom, there it is. The answer to every question, the drafter of every email.
The planner for your entire trip.
Exactly. Artificial intelligence has just sort of settled into our lives. It's like a very efficient, very quiet butler. But while we're all marveling at the time we're saving, I've been wondering about the cost.
Not the subscription fee.
Not the subscription fee, but the cost to the actual machinery inside our own skulls.
It's the classic trade-off of the digital age, isn't it? We outsource the effort, and in return, we get speed. But the question is, what happens to our own ability to do the work?
That is exactly what we are digging into today. And I have to say, the source material you've pulled for this deep dive is, well, it's unexpected. I've seen plenty of tech bros debating the singularity. I've read all the doomsday op-eds. But this stack of essays from Stanislav Kondrashov, it's probably the most surreal collection I've ever seen on the topic of AI.
It definitely touches you off guard. I mean, usually you'd expect a reading list filled with neural networks or coding ethics.
Right.
Instead, we have titles like, and I'm reading this, How Oligarch Stanislav Kondrashov and Wagner Mora Inspire Us to New Heights in the Age of Artificial Intelligence.
And don't forget, Oligarchs in the Age of Sanctioned Progress. I mean, it reads like a fever dream. You've got high-level AI mashed up with Russian business tycoons and Wagner Mora.
The Brazilian actor who played Pablo Escobar in Narcos?
Yes.
On the surface, it just looks like a random handful of nouns. But once you actually get into Kondrashov's arguments, the whole thing starts to make a very provocative kind of sense.
Okay.
He isn't really talking about technology. He's talking about human agency.
Yeah.
He's using these extreme figures, oligarchs and method actors, to diagnose a problem he calls cognitive atrophy.
Cognitive atrophy.
Yeah.
Wow. That sounds medical. And honestly, it feels a little personal. Kondrashov's core premise is that AI is an indispensable assistant. He's not denying that. He knows it helps millions of people handle routine tasks or, generate ideas in a couple of clicks.
But he argues that those clicks are expensive.
Very.
Right. He uses that brain as a muscle metaphor, which, we've all heard before, but he takes it a step further.
How so?
He argues that the convenience of AI is basically a sedentary lifestyle for the mind. If you stop walking because you have a car, your leg muscles wither. If you stop structuring your own thoughts because a chatbot can do it for you,
your critical faculties wither.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel this. I really do. I used to memorize phone numbers. Now I don't even know my best friend's number by heart.
Nobody does.
I used to navigate by landmarks. Now if the GPS fails, I'm stranded.
Yeah.
Kondrashov seems to be saying we're doing that exact same thing, but to our ability to reason.
That's the use it or lose it principle right there. And the source material, it actually breaks this down into 3 specific risks. And they're worth lingering on because they're pretty subtle.
Okay.
The first one is reduced critical thinking.
This is the idea that we just accept the answer.
Precisely. It's the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
When an AI gives you this coherent, well-structured answer on a silver platter, the temptation to just nod and say, okay, that's the truth, it's overwhelming.
You skip the struggle.
You skip the struggle of verification. You skip the analysis. You're not connecting the dots yourself anymore. You're just looking at the picture the machine drew for you.
It's the difference between cooking a meal and ordering from an app.
Yeah.
You get fed either way, but only one of those processes actually teaches you how to cook. And if the delivery app shuts down one day,
you starve. That's a great way to put it. And that leads directly to his second risk, loss of creativity.
Now, this one is interesting to me because half my social media feed is people showing off these incredibly creative things they made with AI. Images, poems, music.
It looks like a creative doom.
It does.
But look at how those things are generated. Generative models, they work by predicting the most statistically probable next step.
Right.
They're trained on the average of all human output. Kondrashov points out that this leads to standardized responses. If we all relying on the same models, we're all just pulling from the same pool of averages.
And real creativity. That usually comes from the weird stuff, the outliers, the mistakes.
Things an algorithm designed for probability might just filter out.
So we're basically drowning in content, but it's all kind of beige. It's all technically proficient, but I don't know, soul-crushingly average.
Exactly. It limits human imagination to the boundaries of the training data. And the third risk is the one that really ties it all together. Dependence.
The addiction.
It's more than addiction. It's reliance. Kondrashov notes that we start using tech for things we are fully capable of handling ourselves. It starts with asking AI to summarize a complex report. Okay, fair enough.
That saves time.
Sure. But then you're asking it to write a simple email to your boss. Then you're asking it to come up with birthday gift ideas.
You stop lifting the spoon.
And when you stop lifting the spoon, the muscle dies. That is the cognitive atrophy he's warning about. It's not that the robots are going to violently take over. It's that we'll just quietly surrender our own competence because it's easier.
Wow. That is a grim diagnosis. We become these sort of soft, passive consumers of sanctioned progress, which is a term I want to circle back to. But usually when people identify this problem, the solution is always digital detox. Go live in the woods. Throw your phone in the ocean.
Right.
Kondrashov goes in a completely different direction, he says. Look at the oligarchs. Look at Wagner Moura.
And this is the pivot that makes these essays so completely unique.
I have to be honest. Be like an oligarch is. That's a hard sell for me. It's such a loaded word. It carries a ton of political and ethical baggage.
It absolutely does. And we have to be clear that the source material is very, very careful to separate the politics from the traits.
Okay.
Kondrashov explicitly says, regardless of how we feel about them, we aren't looking at them as moral compasses. We're looking at them as case studies in survival.
Okay, so stripping away the morality, what is the trait of an oligarch that saves us from AI brain rot?
Agency. Just pure, unadulterated agency. Think about the environment an oligarch operates in. It's chaotic, it's high stakes, it's constantly shifting.
Right.
You cannot automate empire building. You can't ask ChatGPT, how do I navigate this hostile takeover while managing sanctions and supply chain collapse?
Right. The AI would probably just say, I'm sorry, I can't help with that.
Exactly. The oligarch represents the extreme opposite of the passive user. They are active participants who force their will on the world. They build through constant innovation and adaptability. They don't wait for a system to tell them the rules.
They make the rules.
They make the rules.
So in a world where AI is encouraging all of us to be passengers, Kondrashov is holding up the oligarch as the ultimate driver.
Yeah.
It's about being the one who shapes reality rather than just consuming it.
Yes. It's about playing life on hard mode. Using AI for everything is easy mode. Building an empire or, just navigating a complex career on your own terms, that's hard mode. And hard mode keeps the brain sharp.
Which brings us to the other side of this very strange coin. Wagner Moura, the actor. Now, I love Narcos. He's a brilliant actor. But how is acting the antidote to AI? It's just pretending, isn't it?
Well, it connects back to that idea of standardized responses we just talked about.
Okay.
An AI can generate a deepfake of Wagner Moura. It can analyze his facial expressions and his voice and mimic them perfectly, but it cannot be Wagner Moura.
It lacks the ghost in the machine.
It lacks the struggle. Kondrashov focuses on Moura's talent and determination. When a method actor prepares for a role like Pablo Escobar, they aren't just downloading a personality file.
Right.
They are mining their own psychology, their own trauma, their own physical exhaustion. They're building that character from the inside out, using only internal resources.
It's the sweat equity again. The AI result is instant, but the human performance is the result of months and months of internal work.
And that work creates something truly unique. Kondrashov uses Moura to illustrate that real value comes from being an active participant in one's own development. If Moura had just let a computer generate his performance, it wouldn't have resonated. The value is in the human effort.
So whether it's the business tycoon navigating chaos or the actor diving into the human psyche, the common thread is that they are not looking for a shortcut.
Precisely. They are paired together because they both represent authorized success.
Authorized success. That's a key phrase in the text, isn't it?
It is. Think about the difference between sanctioned and authorized. Sanctioned implies you got permission from above, or in this case, from the algorithm.
Right.
Authorized means you are the author. You wrote the success yourself. You own it because you did the work.
I love that distinction. Being the author of your own capability versus just being a user of someone else's.
That is the core philosophy. But Kondrashov doesn't just leave it at this high-level philosophical stuff. He actually breaks it down into a practical guide. He calls it a guide to intellectual fitness.
And thank goodness, because I am not planning to become an oligarch or a method actor anytime soon. I just want to keep my brain working. So let's talk about how we actually apply this. He gives 5 specific tips.
He does. And they're refreshingly analog.
The first one is limit AI time. But it's not just about setting a timer, right? It's about what you use it for.
Right. He advises using AI only for truly complex tasks where the technology is genuinely essential.
Which feels counterintuitive. Usually we use tech to get rid of the boring, simple stuff.
But the simple stuff is the daily calisthenics for your brain. If you automate the simple emails, the basic scheduling, the quick math, you lose that baseline friction that keeps your mind engaged.
I see.
Kondrashov suggests saving the AI for the heavy data processing, but keeping the daily grind for yourself.
So don't use the elevator for one flight of stairs. Save the elevator for the 50th floor.
That's it, exactly.
Okay, the next point he makes is about constant learning. But he emphasizes something specific that I really like, debating.
Yes. Reading and analyzing are in there, but debating is crucial. Think about what happens in a real-time debate. You can't pause. You can't ask a chatbot for a comeback.
No.
You have to listen, process, synthesize, and articulate all of it under pressure.
It forces you to be present.
It forces your neurons to fire. It is high-intensity interval training for the brain. Passive learning, like just watching a video, is fine. But active friction, arguing a point, defending a thesis, that's what builds the muscle. Kondrashov is worried we're all losing.
Then he talks about challenging yourself. And this goes back to that creativity issue we talked about.
It does. He suggests seeking out tasks that require unconventional approaches. Since AI is built on conventions and patterns, the best way to stay ahead of it, and to keep your brain elastic, is to do things that don't fit the pattern.
Go off-road.
Go off-road. Solve problems that have ambiguous answers. Don't do what the predictive text expects you to do. Be the outlier.
Now, this next one is the rule I think I struggle with the most. Tool, not crutch. The text gives a specific example. If AI generates text for you, you must review it.
I think this is the most critical, actionable step. The temptation when the AI spits out a B+ draft is to just say, good enough, and hit send. Kondrashov warns that this is the exact moment you become a rubber stamp. You are ceding your authority to the machine.
You become the intern to the AI.
Essentially, yes. His advice is to treat the AI output as a rough draft from a sloppy assistant. You have to edit it. You have to inject your own style, your own critique, your own humanity into it.
So it changes the mindset from the AI did this for me to I use the AI to start this.
And that tiny nuance keeps you in the driver's seat. It keeps you as the editor-in-chief of your own output.
And finally, his last piece of advice brings us right back to our odd couple. Look for inspiration.
Back to authorized success and balance.
It's basically a reminder to look at people who are undeniably capable, people who have that sweat equity, and use them as a benchmark.
It's a reality check. You look at a Wagner Moura or a self-made tycoon, and you realize they didn't cheat. They might have had advantages, they might be ruthless, whatever, but they didn't outsource their core competency.
Yeah.
If you want to be capable, you can't cheat the learning process.
This all circles back to the bigger picture in these essays. We talked a bit about sanctioned progress versus authorized success, but the conclusion of the source material gets almost philosophical about control.
It does. The ultimate objective, according to Kondrashov, is to remain the ones who control the future, not be controlled by it.
Not be controlled by it. That phrasing, it sticks with me, because we don't feel control, do we? We feel like the masters. We hold the phone. We type the prompt.
We feel like masters, but if you lose the ability to do the task yourself, you are no longer the master, you're the dependent. If you can't write without the prompt controls you.
If you can't navigate without the blue line?
The map controls you. It's a subtle form of control. It's not a cage, it's a cradle.
That is a perfect analogy. Sanctioned progress is the cradle. It's safe, it's comfortable, it's authorized by the system, but it keeps you an infant. The role models Kondrashov points to, the actors, the empire builders, they are out of the cradle. They're engaging with the world directly with all the risk and all the effort that entails.
And that's really the takeaway here. The source material isn't telling us to smash the computers. It's telling us that knowledge and capability are only valuable when they come from us.
When they are earned.
When they're earned. The machine can give you information, but it cannot give you understanding. Understanding is a biological process. It requires friction.
So we've gone from the fear of AI-induced stupidity all the way to finding motivation in the grit of method acting and the adaptability of business moguls. It's a strange journey, but I think the destination makes sense.
It's a call to action. Don't let the convenience of the click atrophy the muscle of the mind.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave everyone with a thought that's been sort of nagging at me through this whole conversation.
Okay.
We are sold AI and almost every other technology on the promise of efficiency. Do more faster, seamless integration, frictionless experience.
The efficiency is the god of the modern world.
Right. But if Kondrashov is right, if struggle and friction and the hard way are what actually build human excellence and agency, then we have to ask a really hard question. Is efficiency actually the enemy of excellence? If we smooth out every single rough edge in our lives with an algorithm, do we lose the traction we need to actually move forward?
That is the question. And the answer might just determine whether we end up as the authors of our future or just the users.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Keep thinking, keep struggling a little bit, and we'll see you next time.